Hey guys, this is a process video for my typical Project Life weekly pages. So I've already favorited all of my photos in my Photos app, and I have went ahead and edited them in just using the auto enhance in the native Photos app on my iPhone. And the first thing I do is I already have all of my pages for the entire year set up in advance. I do that in December, January time. And so I go in and I pull up my page that's already been set up and named for the appropriate week, and I start pulling in some of the photos that I may want to use. Now, what I'm going to do here is I have a lot of pictures from this one evening that we went to the cutest little pizza place. So I'm actually going to put 4 photos into one 4x6 slot in my page. So I opened up a 4x6 card, and I am putting in 3 photos from that evening and then a title card, a journaling card. And I'm just resizing these, and I am now going to add in a Stories by the Month July journaling card. And I think this was actually from last year's 2022 collection. I don't get too hung up. This was a week that was between June and July, and I don't get too hung up on whether I'm using June or July cards. I just kind of like to let it flow. I ended up going with July because I really liked that pretty wreath, and I am going to pull in that journaling card to the Word Swag app. This is another one of my favorites. So I am just going through my albums. I've opened the Word Swag app. I'm going to go to my July photo album that has all of my Story by the Month journaling cards in them. I keep them organized by month on my phone pretty much at all time. And I am just going to put my title in there, which is the name of the restaurant that we went to. So it was super cute little brewery brick oven pizza type place that is fairly new to our area, and really liked it. So I hope we get to go back sometime soon. You could actually do the same thing in Word Swag with your photos already in the journal card. So you could export the 4x6 with the photos and the journaling card, and then do this over the top. However, I sometimes like to do it just on the journaling card like I am here, so that the text doesn't run over onto the photo or it can be cropped off the edge. I kind of thought I wanted this text to run all the way off the edge of the journaling card, but I ended up positioning it so that it was more or less within the wreath. I wasn't sure which font I was going to go with at this point, but I ended up with this really pretty calligraphy font and put it down towards the bottom of the wreath, just eyeballing it. So I'm adding it back into Project Life, into that 4x6 spread, and I don't like the positioning. So I'm going to go back and I am going to go through the options again, make it a little bit bigger, and fill up the space just a little bit more. And then I'm going to once again save this to my camera roll and put it in my Project Life spread. So the cool thing about Word Swag is if you don't close out of it, it will kind of save what you were last working on. Not always, so don't rely on that. But if you just push the back button, it'll go to the card and the text that you have that had in it previously. So I put that back in the 4x6 card, saved it to my camera roll, and then I'm going to go back to my Project Life spread and just add it into the 4x6 slot that I want to put it into. Now I'm going to add in the rest of my journaling cards and photos for the week. For the journaling cards, I pretty much stuck with the July Story by the Month cards from Ali Edwards, and I'm just picking out the photos that I want to include. This was actually the weekend before the 4th of July when we started shooting off fireworks in the driveway. And it was also the weekend that we went to watch my nephew play blast ball, which was so much fun. And we got to meet their new dog, Nigel. So I am finding the photo of sweet fluffy Nigel. And I'm going to add that into this 3x4 slot. And I know I want to feature this card a little bit and add some text to it. So I'm going to open it up in the WordSwag app, pull in that photo of Nigel, and add an introduction. I think, yeah, hello, my name is Nigel is what I put on there. And I am going to change that into the Shout Out font, which is one of my very favorite fonts that made me fall in love with WordSwag a million years ago. I just love how bold this font is and how much it stands out, and just all the fun different combinations that it comes up with. And I love that it turns it into a square shape, that it's a box. That's the other thing that I really love about, or not a box, but you know what I mean, that it lines everything up for you. So I am going to change that into white, and sometimes I like to make it into that distressed looking white, so that it looks a little bit more like a stamp, but I left it as the bold white on Nigel. So save that to my camera roll, bring it into the spread, and put it in that 3x4 card. And now I'm going to just move things around so that I can add in a journaling card. So I keep my journaling cards on my phone. I pretty much keep this year and last year and this year's story kit for each month saved on my phone, each in their own folder or album. So I decide to use this sunshine card. I love this sunshine card. So I'm going to open it in the Studio app, and this just kind of organically happened. I thought, oh, wouldn't it be cute to put a photo in the circle? So I have a story about this photo that I specifically wanted to include in this week's layout. So this just sets me up perfectly to have a spot for my journaling and a spot for my photo all in one card. So I am going to modify this to meet my needs, which is why I love digital so much. If you haven't figured it out by now, I pretty much exclusively I primarily scrapbook on my phone using apps. So I'm an app scrapper. So I am going to pull that card in again on top of the one that I've already done in Studio, so that I can crop it down and change the location of the story, I believe is what it says on that journal card. The story. So I'm going to crop it down. I'm kind of playing with it and right now I'm really trying to decide what I want to do, but that is what I end up going with. So I'm going to crop that and then move it up to the top so that the whole column can be my journaling slot. So now, after I get that in the right position, and you don't want a shadow on it because you want the whole thing to look like one fluid piece. So I'm just positioning it, and if you go down to the nudge, it will zoom in on that, and you can just push the arrows, and that is just so helpful if your fingers don't want to cooperate. So then I go back, and I am just saving a white square to my camera roll so that I can pull it in on top and block everything out. So I'm going to cover up the story so that it is now only at the top of my page, and I can now add my journaling in. I'm just going to speed up my journaling or my typing here. Nobody really wants to watch me type. And on this particular card, I do add the date. I don't always add the date because it is always in my title card, but there are some things that I do want to kind of remember the date on. This was a particularly special day because Brecken got her expander on, and she's ended up spending the rest of the day at the office with me, which was just kind of a special time to have her just around. She likes going to the office with me. I think that it has to be incredibly boring, but I do remember spending days at my mom's office as well. So I hope she remembers these times that it's just the two of us and she's pretending to play doctor. I am a dentist, so she was pretending to take appointment calls and making a schedule, and it was just really super cute. And I didn't even include that part in the journaling. I'll probably tell that story somewhere else. So I'm going to change that font color to black and just resize it, and then position it so that it has more spacing or leading in between the lines. I had a few typos there, so I am just fixing those, and then we'll go back to the journal card, and I am going to save that to my camera roll and then add it into the Project Life spread that we're working on over in the Project Life app. So I will put that in there, and just look, totally changes the look of the page with that sunshine card in there with that little circle photo. I love it. Turned out super cute. Next, I'm going to add a journaling card into that 3x4 slot, and I am going to use this little details card from last year's July Stories by the Month, and I am going to pop that on over into the Studio app. So I am just navigating to the album that has that card in it in the Studio app and pulling it in, and I am just going to add my journaling to it here. First, I'm going to switch to Remington Noiseless, which is my favorite font, and I'm gonna go ahead and speed up me typing, because who wants to watch me type? Nobody. Some of the details that I'm adding in here are that Lawrence started swimming lessons, and that we met Nigel and started lighting off fireworks, and that we went to that cute little brick oven pizza place. Okay, now that I've got all of my text on there, I am just repositioning it and sizing it to fit on the card. And the next thing I'm going to do is add a little detail into, the little detail on the little detail card, into that upper right hand box. So I started off just typing a J, thinking that that would fit for either June or July. And then I did really like that J that was just an outline, so it's white to begin with. I changed it to black. That looked really cute, and I decided I think rather than that I'd like to have a 7, so I start off with an 07. That wasn't quite square, so I just took the 0 off and just used the 7, and I liked the way that that turned out. It takes me a little time to get that position just perfectly. I keep kind of dinking around with it here before I actually save it to my camera roll, but I'm going to save that and add that back into the Project Life app, and that is it for the spread for this week, for week 26. Thank you so much for watching, and please, if you have any suggestions for videos or something that you'd like to see, please leave it in the comments down below. And don't forget to subscribe.